welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here, we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And happy 2025. Happy New Year. Happy new season, new chapter, new journey, or just another step along our path. I'm, of course, recording this in advance, but I am already feeling into that new year energy. And of course, our calendar new year is just a symbol. I often more lean into the astrological new year or the human design new year or just the energy of the seasons. But they're all around this time. They all have the same essence and the same general timeline. And they are this essence of a new chapter and a new beginning. And reflecting on the past and setting our intentions and recommitting to our heart's desires and moving forward with renewed clarity and conviction. And right now I am really using this time to harness that energy and really using December and January and winter in general to be in that winter energy, to sit with myself and to gain clarity on my life and where I want to go and what needs to be let go of, and to allow myself to slow down and soften so I can be with what needs to come forward. And to really winter, which has been hard for me in the past, and it's becoming more and more evident that I need, and that I am very impacted by the seasons, and I'm a seasonal being. So with that being said, I wanted to get into some of my main reflections from 2024 and intentions for 2025. And how I want to set it up is that I state a reflection from 2024 and then a corresponding intention. Because my reflections very much shaped my intentions, and I don't know about you, but I can be very hard on myself. It can be all too easy for self-criticism to take hold, especially in more challenging times or when we're reflecting back on years that were hard or disappointing or weren't what we expected, or where there was just more internal transformation than external evidence, or years where the theme felt like something more internal, such as clarification, which is kind of how it felt for me. It felt like a very clarifying year. And while that's a very important year, it can feel like the external movement forward isn't there. And I just know I've been talking to a lot of people who are looking back on their year and feeling disappointment or sadness or regret or frustration or judgment or just self-talk popping up. And I don't want us to stay stuck in that and spiraling in that. Instead, let that inform what it is we do truly want. Let that inspire and excite us and create the foundation for our intentions. Let that help us gain clarity on our next steps. So if you're feeling frustrated that something didn't come to fruition, it's showing you that maybe that is really important for you. And so how can you then get excited that you've gained clarity that this is something you really want, and then move forward with new clarity and conviction and determination and devotion? So I'm going to get right into it with some of the reflections and intentions, and then some action steps that I'm going to slide into my rituals to help me embody and align with these intentions. And I'm still processing. Like I said, it's not yet January. It's still December. I still haven't done all of my rituals that help me gain that clarity. So some of this might shift and evolve over time, but these are the themes that I see popping up for me already. And so I feel confident in sharing some of these intentions now. So my first reflection. Like I said, 2024 was a year of clarifying where I'm going, where Intuitively Wild is going, and what I want and how to get there. And so my intention surrounding that is 2025 is a year for claiming, going after what I want, letting myself and my business be seen, and embodying my dreams. 2024 was a year to nourish the seeds and sprouts that had been planted in the past and tend to them with consistency and clarity. So my intention is 2025 is a year for those seeds to sprout into flowers, for them to come to fruition and vibrancy and be seen. And those two reflections are related, as you can hear. But I feel like I had a lot of years where, if we're using this garden emoji, which comes up a lot in my life, I guess that makes sense. I feel like I had a lot of years where things were burned to the ground. My whole garden had to be uprooted, and we saw there was rot and things just weren't growing well and weren't being nourished, and everything had to be redone. And then I had years where I had to replant everything and redo everything so it was really aligned and fresh and vibrant and vital. And so I had to spend time planting those seeds and then patting the seeds down and watering them and feeding them and nourishing them and paying attention to them and sitting with them. And then, like I said, I had years where sprouts started to pop up and I just had to tend to them really gently and gain more clarity on what was growing and where and how and what they needed. And that has been such a process and such an important process. And now I'm like, okay, now it's time for those seeds to really sprout, for the flowers to grow big and juicy and be seen, for all the work that has been put into them and the love poured onto them. So that's what I'm hoping for 2025. My next one is 2024 was a time to connect and commit more deeply with the relationships in my life who I want to keep. 2025 is the time to continue those relationships and cultivate new ones in order to establish in real life community. I really got clear on how important relationships are to me in my life, the close ones, the deep soul relationships, both family and friends and chosen family. And so I reconnected with people and I figured out how to maintain my long distance relationships, and I devoted time to that. And also, I moved home, so I'm closer to family. I'm seeing more family now, both immediate family and extended family. And that has been so life-giving in a way I wasn't expecting. And I gained clarity on how important that is to me. And now I am craving to dig my roots down exactly where I am and form community here and be known in this community and connect community, bring community together. And I'm realizing it's not just online community. That's not where my soul sings, is in real life. And I'm going to stop my train of thought with that there for now, but more on that soon. Okay, next one. 2024, I decided I was ready to put down roots and figured out where I felt called to make a home. 2025 is the year I really integrate myself my home, and my business in community. And I put a little caveat for this one. After that statement and that reflection, figuring out where I felt called to make a home, I wrote, let's hope my intuition doesn't change her mind. AKA, let's hope I don't change my mind. Because I never really know what my intuition's going to tell me. And at the same time, I also have that connection to my intuition where I can feel out long-term thoughts. And I am feeling like long-term, this is where I want to be. So I'm ready to claim that and own that and live my life in accordance with that, even though that is very scary for me. Okay, next one. 2024, I figured out how to decipher between fear and my intuition and said no more than I said yes. 2025, I vow to continue to listen to my intuition and never let fear hold me back. We've talked on the podcast before about the difference between fear and intuition. And it can be a really tricky line to navigate and to figure out. And knowing my human design has helped me with that so much. And also being comfortable having empty space. Not needing to say yes to things just because I want to fill that empty space or I'm afraid of it. Not saying yes to things just because I think I should or I'm supposed to or I'm expected to and I don't want to let people down. And getting comfortable with saying no and letting myself say no even when I know it could possibly just be fear. Even when I know it could be okay to say yes. I just had to let myself say no and say whatever I needed to and feel how that impacted me. Because honestly, most everything I said no to was very clearly a no. And I only would have said yes or followed through on it out of shoulds or coulds. I can, so I should. Or people expecting me to, so I should. Or this could move me forward, so I should. And even sometimes when I did push myself to say yes, my intuition kicked in and brought up so much anxiety and so much discomfort that I had to step back and say, no, this isn't aligned. I need to give myself permission to say no. And so now that I let myself say no and gain clarity through those no's, I now know what my yeses are and I can commit to them and move forward with them with conviction. I'm really using that word a lot, but it's feeling really right now. And clarity. And to continue to say no to the things that aren't meant for me. Because through saying no to so many things, I figured out that there were so many things coming my way that were no, because first of all, we'll always have so many things coming our way that are no, because we always have so many things coming our way. And 9 times out of 10, they're just noise. And 2, because I was being asked to reevaluate and really figure out what path I wanted to walk and what direction I wanted to go. And it's become more and more clear that I'm here to carve my own path, do my own thing, being the manifesting generator I am. And so it makes sense that what other people are thinking my path is going to be actually isn't going to be 100% aligned. Or the opportunities that people, myself included, think might get me where I think I want to go aren't actually what I want and aren't actually going to get me there. And what I see other people doing to get to an essence of what I want isn't actually exactly what I want, and it isn't actually my path or my process. So I guess the point with this one is to just be comfortable saying no and not needing to fill the empty space, and decipher between where that no is coming from and figure out what that no is creating space for. And then for 2025, never letting fear hold me back. Now that I know what it is I want, I'm going to go for it. And I am going to continue to say no to the things that aren't aligned and get to my place in my own way. Which leads me to the next one, which is that in 2024, I judged my winding path and let self-doubt and fear of uncertainty cloud my brain too often. So in 2025, I am claiming and celebrating my winding, unique path. I just touched on this a bit, but my path is not going to look like anyone else's, and no one's path is going to look like anyone else's. And I want to create my own path. I want to do this my own way. I have to. And I want to. And so I'm just letting that be. I'm not going to judge it. And I'm just really going to trust it and claim it and own it. And when people don't understand that, that's okay. I'm still going to talk about it with confidence. Which also brings me to the last one, which is 2024, I realized that grounded confidence is the most important personality trait and energy and essence that I want, and spent time figuring out what that felt like for me. So in 2025, I'm committing to embodying and showing up for every area of my life with grounded confidence and making that a part of the core essence of who I am. And I really coined and leaned into this term of grounded confidence because to me it defines what confidence truly is. It's just being grounded in who you are and authentic and connected to who you are and showing up with no care of how other people perceive us or judge us or project onto us, because we know ourselves and we're grounded in ourselves and we're confident in ourselves and we like ourselves. And I've just noticed that the people I look up to, that I'm drawn to, that I am sometimes jealous of, are the people who are so freaking confident in themselves, who are so grounded in their authentic confidence and show up in that way. And I want to be that kind of person as well. And so I'm really committing to that intention. So some action steps to help me. And what I want you to notice is that these might be a little different than the typical New Year's goals or manifestation goals. And I want that to inspire your process and your intentions, your action steps, your reflections, and maybe influence how you frame this whole process. So I want to voice note one person every week I haven't talked to in a while to tell them how grateful I am for them. Nothing gets me more than someone voice noting me and telling me how much they miss me or are thinking of me or want to connect. I love voice notes. That's how I keep in touch with my best friends all over the world. And I also think that we're all going through something. We never know who's going through what. And I don't need this to turn into a long conversation with them. I don't need this to become anything or have any expectations. Some of these people that I have planned to reach out to probably won't even respond because I know them and they're not good with their phone or they have a lot going on. And that's totally fine. I'm not doing it with any expectations. I just want them to know that someone out there is thinking of them. So that's that. The next one is 2 walks a week in silence without a podcast or music. This is just because I take these daily walks with my dog that I love so much. And these walks are also times when I get the most, I guess you could say, downloads or feel most connected to myself or have these intuitive hits or inspiration or creativity. But I am always listening to podcasts. And I really want to spend more time in silence to connect to that deeper layer of myself in this way. Designate weekly creative time just for me with no outcome or business projects in mind. This could be a whole other podcast conversation, but my frame of mind is always about my business, which I love because I care about it so much, and it's not in a draining way for the most part, but I guess I want to think of it more as how am I going to produce and package and market this, and more so what feels alive for me right now, and can I just do it? And I just want to when I think of this one, it makes me so excited to think of myself cozied up on my couch with a cup of tea or in a coffee shop by a fireplace. I mean, especially because it's winter right now, that's what I'm envisioning, and just writing and making that important and spending time doing that. And not just in my journal, but like creative writing or creating a vision board, or because I love scrapbooking, or just time puttering around with some creative project that doesn't have to be anything. Which honestly brings me to my next one, which is sign up for a new community class or workshop. And I was thinking about signing up for like a full pottery workshop series, because I've been doing these one-off pottery pop-up classes that I do love. But I'm actually thinking that I might want to do a writing workshop. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Daily or weekly intuition check-ins. Do I feel like I followed my intuition today? When, how, or why not? I would love this to be a nightly ritual. I'm really honed in on my morning rituals, and I do have my nightly ones as well, but it's mostly just turning off the lights, disconnecting from technology, and getting in my bed and reading. I would really love this like connection moment with myself, and to check in on my intuition for that day. And sometimes I know that might be a lot to ask myself to do it every single day. So I think a weekly intuition check-in feels really good. And actually, for my morning ritual, my next one is recommit to a daily pranayama practice each morning. My meditation is non-negotiable, and same with my journaling as long as I have the time. But my pranayama practice, which is Sanskrit and equivalent for breath work, is something that I haven't been doing every day in the way that I used to. And when I was doing my trainings, I did so much training around pranayama. It was something I was so passionate about and lit up by. And my advanced teacher training, pranayama was like the main focus. And I want to focus in on that again. I'm feeling called to that. So I'm excited to do that. Next is to say yes to the thing I'm terrified but ready to say yes to. And I'm not going to go into that more yet. But it's a big thing, and I'm terrified. And lastly, end the day by writing down or sharing one thing I'm proud of myself for from the day, a lesson I learned, something I'm grateful for, and an intention for tomorrow. I have done this off and on throughout the years, and I find that I really love it. So I want to try to do that again. I don't want to be hard on myself if it doesn't happen every day, but I do want to try to do it as many days as possible, either by myself in a journal or with someone close to me. And I do think it's a really beautiful way to end the night. And sometimes nights can be harder for me. So I'm excited to dial in on that. And I'll leave those there for now. Some journal prompts that I want to leave you with to help your process and that have been really helpful for me. And all of these are in our recent Intuitively Wild weekly newsletter, so I will link that below. But as January unfolds and my desires for 2025 continue to gain clarity and solidify, are my actions, both big and small, aligned with my values? What small changes can I make in the little moments to help me connect with and embody my intentions for 2025. Who do I want to be in 2025? Think about at the end of 2025, when you look back at the year, if you could be proud of and known for one overarching theme or energy or intention, what would that be? And I want you to try to connect with that as much as possible and run every decision through that. That's your anchor point. So when you're needing to make a decision, or you're feeling anxious, or you're lacking clarity about your direction, you can run everything through this. You can say, is this helping me get closer to what that one thing is, that one theme, that one energy, that one intention that I want to be known for, that I want to be proud of? Is this getting me closer to that? Is this connecting me to that or not? And last journal question. What are 3 action steps I can take in January to align with my intentions? As you may or may not know, I always try to choose a main intention and then a main word for the year. And I really am still honing in on what that is for me. Right now, a theme that keeps popping up in my journaling and processing is about transforming my fear into power. And what comes up for me around what I want to look back on and be known for is being the connector, being the connection person. And I'm still, honing in on what the exact phrasing of this is, but helping others turn their fear into power too, helping people connect to their power, helping people connect to themselves, to nature, and to others. So power and connection are kind of fighting for main focus right now, although they are very connected to each other. And I could go into the meaning of the word power for me. It was a hard one for me to come to terms with around why it was popping up for me, because it can have negative connotations, and I've definitely associated it with negative things. But I think that's partially why I need to claim it, and why it's important for all of us to claim it. Our power holds our magic. Our power allows us to be seen and bright and bold and known as the fullness of who we are. So clearly I have a lot more I could say about power, and the word power is asking for my attention right now. But that's where I'm at in my process of reflecting and intention setting at the moment. I'm sure I'll be in a completely different place when this airs, but that is how time works. I'm excited to delve into this year with all of you, and just honestly so grateful for all of you for being here. This podcast is something that I love doing so much, and I would just love to hear from all of you and what your process has been like, reflecting and setting intentions, what 2024 was for you, what you're feeling into for 2025, any action steps you're ready to commit to or want support around committing to, and anything that you would like to hear on the podcast in 2025. With all of that being said, I hope that January meets you softly and with open arms. I hope you had a really, really lovely new year. And I hope you let yourself feel into whatever energy is being asked. I know that not all of us are in the winter season, but just I hope you can delve into whatever season is both around and within you, and give yourself permission to give yourself what you need. Okay, I'll see you all next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.